Reading from Light of the BHAGAVATA by Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Text 1. The arrival of clouds accompanied by thunder and flashes of lightning all over the sky provides a picture of life-giving hope. Covered by deep bluish clouds, the sky appears artificially dressed. The thunder and lightning within the clouds are signs of hope for a new way of life. The serene sky, limitlessly expansive, is compared to the absolute truth. The living entities are truths manifested in relation with the modes of material nature. The deep bluish cloud covers only an insignificant portion of the limitless sky. And this fractional covering is compared to the quality of ignorance or forgetfulness of the real nature of the living being. A living entity is as pure as the limitless sky. He becomes covered by the cloud of forgetfulness, however, in his tendency for enjoying the material world because of this quality called tamas, ignorance. He considers himself different from the absolute whole and forgets his purity, which is like that of the clear sky. This forgetfulness gives rise to separatists and false ego. Thus, the forgetful living entities individually and collectively makes a sound like thundering clouds. I am this, it is ours, or it is mine. This mood of false separatists is called the quality of rajas, and it gives rise to a creative force for separate lordship over the modes of tamas. The flash of lightning is the only beam of hope that can lead one to the path of knowledge, and therefore it is compared to the mode of sattva or goodness. The limitless sky or the all-pervading absolute truth Brahman is non-different from the covered portion of the sky, but simultaneously the whole sky is different from the fractional portion that is liable to be covered by the dark cloud. The cloud accompanied by thunder and lightning cannot possibly cover the limitless sky. Therefore, the absolute truth, which is compared to the whole sky, is simultaneously one with the manifested living being and different from him. The living being is only a sample of the absolute truth and is prone to be covered by the circumstantial cloud of ignorance. There are two parties of philosophers, generally known as the monists and the dualists. The monist believes in the oneness of the absolute truth and the living entity, but the dualists believes in the separate identities of the living being and the absolute truth. Above these two classes of philosophers is the philosophy of achinta bheda tattva, or the truth of simultaneous oneness and difference. The philosophy was propounded by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his explanation of the Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta is the medium of philosophical interpretations, and thus the Vedanta cannot be the absolute property of any particular class of philosopher. A sincere seeker of the absolute truth is called a Vedantist. Veda means knowledge. Any department of knowledge is called a part of the Vedic knowledge. And Vedanta means the ultimate conclusion of all branches of knowledge, as philosophy is called the science of all sciences. Vedanta is the ultimate philosophy of all philosophical speculations. Text 2. The scorching heat of the sun evaporates water from the seas, rivers, lakes and reservoirs, and there is little water anywhere. The people become thirsty and always look overhead for rain, but in despair. Yet, just as at the right moment, torrents of rain begin to fall everywhere in the land, even on the hard stones, and the land becomes overflooded. The welfare state imposes upon its citizens scorching taxes in various forms: income tax, sales tax, land tax, terminal tax, excise tax, customs tax, and so many other taxes. But in due course, when the taxes accumulate into a large sum of money, they are utilized for the welfare of the citizens in various ways. Nonetheless, sometimes it happens that the benefits of the taxes fall like rains on a stone-hearted man in the state who are unable to utilize the money properly and who squander it for sense gratification. The common man supposes the unequal distribution of rain to represent nature's wrath for our sinful acts. There is truth in this. Thus, to have an equal distribution of state-raised taxes, the citizens need to be scrupulously honest and virtuous. They should be honest in the payment of taxes to the state and should have honest representatives to look over the administration. In the modern setup of democratic states, the citizens can have no cause for grievances, because the whole administration is conducted by the people themselves. If the people themselves are dishonest, the administrative machinery must be corrupt. Although a damned government of the people may be given a good or fancy name, if the people are not good, they cannot have good government. Regardless of which party governs the administration, therefore, good character in the consciousness of the mass of people is the first principle necessary for a good government and equal distribution of wealth. In ancient days, the kings were taught lessons in political philosophy by ideal teachers, and the citizens from whole village to village were taught the principles of self-realization according to the Vedic codes, for both the material and the spiritual upliftment of society. Therefore, the citizens were God-conscious and honest in their dealings, and the kings were responsible for the welfare of the state. The same basic principles are accepted in the democratic governments of the present day, for the irresponsible party of the people is always voted out of power and must yield to the responsible party for a better government. In the cosmic administration, there is only one party which consists of the servants of God, and the responsible deities of the various planets maintain the cosmic laws in terms of the orders of the Supreme Lord. But the people suffer on account of their own folly. And what is that folly? In Bhagavad Gita it is said that people should perform yajnas or sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. The Supreme is all-pervading, therefore people must learn to perform yajnas to satisfy the all-pervading Supreme Truth. There are different yajnas prescribed for different ages, and in the present age of iron industry, the yajna that enlightens the mind of the masses for God consciousness is recommended. This process of yajna is called the Sankirtan yajna, or mass agitation for invoking man's lost spiritual consciousness. As soon as this movement is taken up through spiritual singing, dancing and feasting, the people will automatically become obedient and honest. Obedience is the first law of discipline. The people have become disobedient to the laws of God, and therefore neither rain nor wealth is equally distributed. A man who is ultimately disobedient cannot have any good qualifications. When disobedient leaders lead the disobedient people, the whole atmosphere of the administration becomes polluted and full of dangers. As when a blind man leads several other blind men, the state taxes therefore should be spent to build the character of the people in general that will bring happiness to the citizens of the state. Light of the Bhagavata.